Okay, good morning, everybody. Today we're messing around with some more new Streets of New Capenna brews in Modern. This is one I am really stoked for. This is obviously a new evolution of the old Esper Monastery Mentor Unearth deck. We've played a lot of this strategy on this channel in the past. In the past, we've been playing Faithful Mending, where Tainted Indulgence is now. And in the past, I've also main decked Luris as another creature that is good in this Esper shell with Mishra's Bauble and is looking for another good creature to unearth. And I feel that Ledger Shredder is a pretty good... Like before this card was printed, I looked at every single Esper legal card, and I just didn't feel like anything else besides the Snapcaster or the Mentors were really good fits. Not that you have to play another creature in this spot. But I think Shredder fits really well here. We can go Shredder Bauble, immediately trigger the Connive, loot away a Mentor, then unearth it. Obviously, it's an unearth target itself, which is pretty nice. Gives you a decent amount of card selection, too, which is pretty good in a deck like this. And then Tainted Indulgence, I think, is a much better enabler for the Unearth Mentor plan, since it's not ever going to give you any card disadvantage. You can also, you can draw 2 cards with it if you have all 5 types. Land, Bauble, 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop, which is, I think, will probably actually come up more often than you think with 4 Consider, 4 Thought Scour. I think you'll actually be able to just 2-mana draw 2 with this a decent amount of the time. And oh, sorry. We don't have. Sorry, never mind. That's not true. You'll never draw 2 with it because Bauble and lands have the same mana value. Sorry. I just realized that now. What about the Esper Charm? The Esper Charm is pretty bad. At least in this deck, it's pretty bad. Where the best mode on the Esper Charm is to return a multicolor permanent with mana value 3 or greater. You have none of those in this deck, so I think it's not a very good fit. Yeah, sorry, it'll never work. I mean, I don't think it's worth playing a 4-mana spell just to make it work. You mostly want this for the discard anyways. You mostly want this for the discard anyways, so that you can set up for your unearthed turns. Also, you'll notice that I'm playing Fatal Push over Prismatic Ending now. This was something that, in the past, when you were on Faithful Mending, I think it was good to be on Prismatic Ending. That way you can play Seacrum Coast, and you get to be blue-white splash black. Today, however, I think with being on Tainted Indulgence, I think it's a lot better to be blue-black splash white. And I think this makes the mana overall a lot better, where... you're splashing a 3-mana spell instead of like your splash kind of being unearthed. Splashing the 3-mana spells a lot easier in general. Dork Third, thank you for 25 months. BJ with the 9, thank you. Well, 1 or 2 Murderous Cut. Yeah, you could play 1 or 2 Murderous Cuts. I think that might be fine. Maybe 1 Murderous Cut over Path to Exile would be pretty good. I think I'm just gonna run this for now though, where Path can exile Sanctifier and Vec, which can be an issue. So yeah, I missed, Doctor, thank you for the 10 months. Dr. Balopolis, Dell with the 8 months. Dorktor with the 13, and BJ with the 9 months. Thank you guys so much. RF Lee, aren't you afraid of Fury and hence want to play Sideboard Subtlety? I'm not that afraid of Fury, no. What's great about this deck is that with 4 Snapcaster Mages and 4 Unearths and all these mill spells, if your opponent kills your Monastery Mentor, you have a lot of ways to just buy it back and have a crazy turn where you flood the board. And you also have Counterspell for Fury if you feel like if you feel like your opponent has it, but I don't think that I'd be so afraid of Fury that I would play a pretty weak card like Subtlety. Okay, we can keep this. How to like Charm? I like Charm a lot. I have a Jund Shadow list too. That is also going to be playing Charm that I've got for maybe later today, maybe tomorrow. Yeah, Tutors has won like 3 challenges in the last like couple days. Not couple days, but yeah, couple weeks. Okay, so play Shredder, Bauble, Connive. You're going to discard the Mentor. It is kind of close. Shredder's been pretty good. Maybe we should be playing 4. Playing against Creativity. Glad we have Force. We're just gonna attack for 2, hold up our mana. I wish we had found a land though. Also, they're the. I mean, I guess we should have figured this out off Explore, but they are the Titan version of creativity. 3 cards left in their hand. Hopefully, second Force of Negation can buy us the time we need. Although, if they just have like land Primeval Titan, I guess we're in not great shape. Quick attack here. Maybe in a turn I could just, you know, Thought Scour, Indulgence, trigger the Shredder again. Yeah, really don't want to see them get, oh, I guess they just already have double green, actually. I think it's better to hardcast Force than it is to do anything else here. It's got 2 cards left in their hands. Can't do too much about them having many more payoffs. Let's see what we draw. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and fetch a white source out of my deck before I accidentally mill over both fountains. Scour. Okay, so I could push now so I can connive and still keep Pitch Force or cast Indulgence up. I'll just keep both up here. Or hardcast Force up. Ledger Shredder going all the way, maybe? Bizarro, I think that's 60 months. Welcome back. Appreciate you. Okay. Only casting Creativity X equals 1 is interesting. So I get my Shredder trigger off the Explorer. Then I guess I'm just discarding the Strand. I get another Shredder trigger off the Indulgence. It's kind of crazy. Yeah, discard the Force against Snap Counterspell. Okay, then discard the Mentor. Oh, a little bit of lag. Okay, we'll just Unearth Mentor, hold up Snap Counterspell, attack for 3. Snapcaster always triggers Shredder too, which is pretty cool. To play another spell, I'll get to trigger this. Indulgence, exciting new addition to Esper Animator. I mean, it's a addition. To be honest, I'm not that excited about it. Okay, they're targeting the Shredder here. So they have another spell, so I get to trigger the Connive. So I think what I should do here is actually Snapcaster Indulgence, try to find a spell to, or try to hit a spell off the Shredder, and then try to find a spell to discard to the second Connive trigger to keep my Shredder alive. Awesome. So now if I just don't draw land, which I don't. Okay, this card's nuts. Jeez. Pretty good start, pretty good start. Okay, let's bring in the Fulminator Mages. Cutting off... I mean, I know push stops the creativity X equals 1. This doesn't happen that often, to be honest. Why not simply snap Counterspell, though? I guess I'm getting a little too fancy. Just getting a little fancy. Yeah, they're on the Titan version, so like bringing in Path, Teferi doesn't seem that good, to be honest. Teferi's maybe fine. Kind of high on the curve whenever I bring up these other 3-drops, though. Dress Down's like not that good at stopping Titan when I can't remove it. I think we're just gonna submit this. Yeah, we may end up trying to find... Like, I figured that Shredder would be a really good fit here. There's maybe a you know, it maybe just fits in like a much wider range of shells. I didn't realize this card triggered on your opponent's spells, like, going into today. I knew it triggered on your own spells, and it was pretty good in my mind just doing that, but triggering on both turns, pretty exciting. Maybe, I think, put back the Indulgence here. And then I'd be pretty interested in waiting on this Bauble till turn 2, so that I can trigger the Shredder. But of course, I'm only, like, super likely to do that if I can find a second land, which I do find. Shredder and Phoenix. I think that Shredder's not going to be that interesting in Phoenix in Modern. It's kind of like, you know, the sad reality, right? But any cast to consider here. I'm gonna force this, I think. But like, I mean, it's not maybe sad reality is hyperbolic, but the reality is when it comes to Phoenix in Modern is like the whole reason to play like the versions I've been liking is that you get access to a deck that's really resilient to creature removal, right? In my mind, that's always been like the big idea there. The big payoff is your deck's really resilient to creature removal, and like Shredder it admittedly isn't, you know. Ooh, it's very on top. But it doesn't have another land drop. Definitely holding up the just mana now. So sacking to try to find a land. We have hope we can find Unearth and just Unearth Fulminator Mage. Perfect. I guess I'll discard Delta though. Maybe it's better to discard Counterspell and go like Unearth. Maybe it's probably actually not better to Stone Rain them. It's probably just better to Unearth Mentor, Bauble, trigger Shredder, trigger Mentor, he'll have Counterspell up. Okay, don't mind that draw at all. I guess I'll discard the Force. I can just have Snap Counterspell up. Also get a counter on the Shredder. Yeah, I was pretty excited about this deck. I woke up excited, which is always my favorite days. Just wake up excited to play New Brew on stream. It's my favorite days ever. Well, pretty good match. So we draw any lands. This hand's so good if it draws a land. Oh my gosh. Any land taps for blue. I'm gonna keep it, YOLO. On the draw, discard Mentor. We're on the play. Yeah, we're on the play. That is kind of an interesting line though. Yeah, if we were on the draw, I would discard a Mentor for sure. I'm gonna keep, and I think I'm just gonna play the one Bauble because we really need the second Bauble to trigger the Shredder on turn 2, but that's gonna be such a strong hand. What, Gaida? Which card is Gaida? Well, this is actually fun because we have 2 Unearths. They can't take a creature. I guess they just take a Bauble. They might not see the line of taking Bauble though. It's so rare that you take a Bauble with discard spell. I think Shredder would be a good replacement for DRC and Murktide. I mean, DRC is just broken and Murktide, so I don't know. I wouldn't replace it, but you can play it in addition to. Too bad. I guess I'll play the Bauble now. I think you should have bobbled myself on my turn. I mean, I decided that if I bobbled myself on my turn, I still wasn't playing the second Bauble because the upside of drawing a second land, it was worth it. Hey Fran, how's it going? Tech for ruler, probably dead this game. Shredder being a 1/3 is at least pretty good against Ragavan, though. Maybe my opponent will let me loot with my Shredder. Bloodsoaked Champ. Interesting. So, instead of going like the red-white version with Nahiri, you're just playing Warrior Tribal. And then you also have Relic Seeker to tutor your hammer. It's kind of a lot to wrap my head around, but there may be something here. Okay, I think I'm playing Shredder, Unearth Shredder. Then hopefully we can block the 2/4 on the Channeler, take a hit from the Shadow, claw back. Okay, we can't. They have a drown. Yeah, lose. I think that this is probably not as good a way to go as the red-white version. Like, your card quality here is really low. You know, you're playing Bloodstone Champion, Martyr Woe Reaver. Like, these are just, like, far from, like, premium modern cards, you know? I do think if you want to go this direction, I'd really be interested in playing, like, 22 lands and having 4 Mutavaults. And I feel like you're probably dipping into your spells a little bit with if you're cutting these cards. Maybe you cut the Relic Seekers, or like you only play 2 Relic Seeker. Like, you're really just not hitting your opponent that often with Relic Seeker. Card is, I think, generally not all that. Okay, so I mean, I do think Shredder is a bit awkward in matchups like this, where it's pretty fragile to creature-based removal. So like this, just trim 1/1/1/1. Yeah, maybe just play like 2 Relic Seekers, if that, 4 Mutavaults, 22 lands, cutting 1 of each basic. Does Guinea of the Trials beat Lotus Field? There's no way it beats Lotus Field, right? They surely have outs to that with Fae of Wishes. Yeah, if this card is not literally 3 mana to win the game against Lotus Field, I don't think I would play it. And it's not. They could just Otawara it too. I would play the Archon, the white Archon, over Deafening Silence and Gideon, just 4 of those. I would play 3rd Rest in Peace, almost for sure. Probably in that extra slot after you cut the Deafening Silences and Gideons. I don't know what Fracture is in the sideboard for, to be honest. I would probably play 4th Fatal Push. I would maybe play the Noxious Grasp instead of Fatal Push so that you can hedge against Winota a bit more. Oh yeah, they have Ugin, yeah. Do you think this deck is well positioned in the meta, or just some jank I'm hoping to pick some games up with? I think this is unplayable trash jank, and it would never be good unless you get very lucky. There's no round between unplayable jank and tier 1, tier 0. And this is definitely tier 0 or jank. Chase, thank you for the 2 months. Appreciate you. Decks are either best deck in the meta, unplayable trash. And this is unplayable trash. Okay, so in response to the Thoughtseize, I'm going to Indulgence, discard Souls. They probably take the Unearth now, but then I can go maybe Mentor plus Bauble. Fuck, I can't believe it. I milled over both my fountains. My Thought Scour milled over both Hallowed Fountains. I have no white sourceless left in the deck. Maybe I should have, maybe that's why you play the Triome. So you just have 1 extra white source. But I mean, how often does this happen? Some amount of the time, I guess. Almost never. Okay, but now we can snap Indulgence to get it in the yard. Do you have an idea of what matchups you're looking for? I mean, I've played a lot of this deck in the past. I think this deck is usually pretty good against big mana combo control, and I think that it is fine in like the more fair grindy matchups, but like Murktide Regent, like Grixis Shadow, this deck isn't gonna have a ton of super polarizing matchups because it is just kind of a pile of like fair cards and interaction, right? Like, you know, I don't think that this deck is gonna have a wide range of polarizing matchups. I think it's generally gonna be all pretty close. Okay, so now I may just snap Unearth next turn, see what happens. It's probably better. It's probably better to snap end of turn since my opponent. I don't want to just like let them drown in the lock super effectively against me. No, Indulgence is always just going to be in the stack. Draw 2, discard 1, which is like why you play it in the first place. We could maybe try to figure out how to fit a couple murderous cuts in the deck or something like that in order to make it work, but I'm not really interested in playing like real 4-mana spells because, you know, I'm an 18-land deck that's playing Monastery Mentor. Okay, they drowned that instead of the Snapcaster. It's kind of an interesting choice. Still no stupid white mana. But maybe Counterspell just gets the job done. Didn't want to Unearth Mentor. As I said, when I went to my end step, I wanted to play around Drown in the Lock by casting Snapcaster end of turn instead of on my turn, and they did have Drown in the Lock. How's Shredder been going? It's been very good so far, I feel. I think I let this go. Try to counter a removal spell. Something that I can pex the board. So you should not just want the draw 2. I mean, again, it's like, how do I turn on the draw 2? Like, I'm not gonna put like what 4-mana spell, 5-mana spell am I putting in my deck that like actually makes any sense here? Okay, 2 cards in their hand. Murktide Regent? Yeah. A delve spell. A delve spell is the answer. Yes, a delve spell is the answer. I don't think you in your 18-land deck. I don't think you want to play any 4-mana spells. But yes, it is a delve spell. And then like what do we cut to? Like I guess you would cut Ledger Shredder for like Murktide Regent, but Shredder's been really good. Fire Ice is that suggestion I like a lot actually. That suggestion is really creative. I like that. Yeah, all the Pioneer brain rot. Let's just add Treasure Cruise. Forgot to add Treasure Cruise to this list. Man, I can't believe nobody plays that card in Modern. Would not Shudder Course be better than Tainted? No, in your deck that's playing all at instant speed, or mostly at instant speed, the ability to have like Counterspell up, Fatal Push, Consider, Thought Scour, have all these instants up is like the whole reason I'm excited about this card in the first place. Yeah, the ability to do this stuff at instant speed is huge. Why no Murktide? Just didn't see it. I mean, you could play Murktide. I'm kind of playing Shredder as like that secondary threat instead. You would definitely just cut Shredder for Murktide, which you could do, and then Tainted Indulgence would be better in the deck. Shredder's also been really good, but yeah, that's probably how you would do it. Untested Gaming, thank you for the 3 months. Appreciate you. I've seen. Oh, sorry, I'm gonna sneeze. Goblins third place. 5K tournament. I didn't see it. No, I do like Goblins a lot though, so I'm excited to hear that happen. Delve Spell, the maybe Street Wraith can make more sense. Street Wraith, I think, without Death Shadow is not playable. I think one thing that like a lot of new players, I think, see a card like Street Wraith. I'm not saying that this is what's happening to you, but I've seen this happen a lot where people are like, oh, let's just add Street Wraith. It has no cost. There's no downside to just playing Street Wraith. Okay, drawing Bauble, I'm going to play the Mentor here. But the reality is that Street Wraith not only makes it to where your range of keepable hands gets really weird, because like you just all of a sudden have to keep like a lot of like 1-lane hands with 2 Street Wraiths that just don't draw lands, or vice versa. 3-lane hands that have 3 Street Wraiths to Shadow get really flooded. Maybe Shadow wasn't the best example there, but I shouldn't have Bauble because I'm just playing into discard spells. But it's also true, like, just any cantrip that draws a card without card selection will make it to where you get mana screwed or mana flooded more often in general, even if it doesn't impact your range of keepable opening hands, you will just get mana screwed or mana flooded more often playing these kinds of cards. And this is not me saying you can never play these kind of cards in any deck, but I am saying like they're really not free to include at all. Did I miss a deck tech? Oh, this is the Goblin deck tech. Let's see how close it is to the list I've been playing. Battlecry Goblins, that's really weird in like the mid-range version. Maybe it's good. Okay, we're in a very good position here. Battlecry plus Chieftain in the board. But like, when do you want to do that sideboard plan, though? There may be some method to the madness, or you know, there may be a spot where you want it. I just don't know when. Like I used to play like I didn't see the fourth Harbinger in the board. Maybe the fourth Harbinger was in the board, but I would much rather just like in the matchups where you need to go fast, I would much rather just mulligan to the combo really aggressively. So putting our opponent to 2, got 2 Lingering Soul tokens in play, 2 more in the yard. If you're playing Fetch, Bauble and Fetch just kind of helps. Yeah, Bauble has tons of synergy in like in Magic. Like again, like yeah, Mishra's Bauble and Street Wraith there are reasons to play them, but just playing them to turn on a card like Tainted Indulgence is like not quite enough, is kind of the point I'm making. Graham, thank you for the raid. Welcome everybody from Graham's stream. Not in this deck. Oh, I see, Mel. I see. Thank you for clarifying. Okay, let's keep this. 1 or 2 drown for flexibility versus counter or push. Well, drown is a lot worse when you're not either playing discard spells, but we do have Scour to scour our opponents sometimes. Tenacious Underdog. I haven't been very impressed by Tenacious Underdog so far in my testing. Yeah, I think that card is probably not quite good enough for Modern. It's pretty borderline. It's maybe super fringe playable. It's probably playing against Murktide. How's Obfelt? We were 13-2 with Obnixilisc in our decks on Friday. That being said, I didn't necessarily feel like... I feel like we were running really hot, and you know, Ob was fine, but it wasn't necessarily like the deciding factors in that many games, to be honest. Yeah, so this matchup, game 1, Murktide's a big problem when we just have like no real answers for it. Okay, graveyard 1 of my 2 Hallowed Fountains, but I'll just tutor my other one here. People keep suggesting Rafine. That card I think is incredibly underpowered in Modern. Okay, so I don't really want to jam the Shredder into a very likely counterspell. Although, would they counter it here? Even if they don't, they're probably going to kill it, so I think I'm just going to pass. Okay, easy force. No third land, love that. And then Shredder immediately gets out of bolt range, which is pretty cool. Probably discarding push. Yeah, I think I'll still discard the push. We can stop the push if we need it. This would let me hit my land drop. I think I'm going to graveyard it, though. And then I could hold the Bauble to try to trigger the Shredder next turn. It's better if we draw a Mentor. I think it's okay to hold it. It's kind of close. No Triome. Yeah, I think, you know, like, just like in, like, Jeskai, Murktide, you don't want to play a Triome. I wouldn't want to play a Triome in, like, Grixis Shadow. In these, like, really low-to-the-ground, cantrip-heavy, spell-heavy decks, it's just kind of a nightmare to have, like, your first couple lands enter untapped a lot of the time, and I'm usually, I think, happier to not want to play it in these kind of decks. Okay. I guess I'll discard the Indulgence now. Scour can... Well, maybe casting the Indulgence would have been nice, but... Scour can maybe dig me for a Mentor, either in the yard or in hand, but now I'll cycle the Bauble. No Mentors, top 24 cards, unfortunately. But I do really like having access to Counterspell here, so I'm not just super cold to Murktide Regent. Kind of awkward. I think I have to counter. It's really bad if they just get to slam at Murktide, of course. Murktide's only a 5/5. But it's just so bad if, like, I don't counter this and then I don't get to use my mana on anything, and then they have Ragavan in hand and they just get to use their mana so much better than I do. I'm really thinking about Tainted Indulgence, a blue-black control shell, or do you need to get value of the discard for it to be good? I think Tainted Indulgence in a blue-black control shell and Pioneer is really exciting to me. Where, like, that seems like a great way to build your deck where you play, like, Opt, Consider, Indulgence, and then you get to play, like, 4 Dig Through Time in a blue-black control shell and Pioneer. But in Modern, I'm not sure if that's something I'm as hyped for. So I think I just counted the Ragavan. It's kind of close. Wasn't dashed though. I think all my points I made still stand. I'm not sure what you're trying to say. Mario, I think for 3 months. Appreciate you. Like, if they just cast, let's see the Blue Eyed Pioneer list. I don't have it. I'm just kind of, you know, theory crafting still. And I think I'll be playing that at some point too, but I don't have it ready yet. I've been very busy. I'm moving this week. Brutal. Okay, probably dead. But yeah, if my opponent casts Ragavan there, they cast Ragavan, and I just like don't and they pass, and I don't get to use my mana on anything. I feel like the game just ends, you know. I have to counter to like not fall behind on board, which is, you know, falling behind on board is, you know, also usually death when you have oh, I have no outs here, right? I can't kill them next turn. I have no main deck answers to Murktide. Okay, stab. That being said, we got some paths in the sideboard for Murktide. I got some Teferi Time Ravelers, Lingering Souls, some good cards. Gonna sideboard, I think, very similarly, although I think I'm more inclined to want to keep all the counter spells, because that's like another important thing to have to deal with Murktide in this matchup. Maybe I'll play Prismatic Ending over Shredder. Yeah, Shredder just kind of tough against the Unholy Heat deck, Lightning Bolt deck. Souls is really good in this matchup. It's kind of awkward to keep the 5-lander. I'm going to mulligan. Let's keep this hand. I'm probably okay to put back a Delta. What's the argument for 4 Puth versus 4 Push main board? 4 Paths versus 4 Push? There's zero argument for playing 4 Path in the main deck of any deck in Modern. Path Exile is, in my opinion, not a main deckable Modern card. You can sideboard it in some very fringe decks like this and play it against like Murktide Regent, Sanctifier, and Vec. It is not a card that you should ever main deck in Modern. Ever. The conversation would be more about Prismatic Ending versus Fatal Push. But in this deck that is playing Tainted Indulgence, your mana is a lot stronger. If you build the deck this way, and you're on Push Indulgence as your cheap spells, and you're a blue-black deck splashing white, than being like a solid 3-color Esper deck that's also playing Counterspell. Not sure. Seems like a good promise closing out. We brought in 3 Lingering Souls, which are incredible at closing out in this matchup. Man, it's getting gritty nowadays. Path is not terrible. That's not true and not true. Man, literally every single deck in Modern is playing plenty of basics for Path to Exile. Path is horrible against Ragavan. It is so... You're seeing it right here. It's so bad against Ragavan. Some decks need to play a card like this against exactly Murktide and Sanctifier. I promise you, there are way better spells than Path to Exile in any deck that you could want in the main deck of. Pass that bad, but have like go for third or whatever. You could play Murderous Cut or something. We're just talking about like main deck spells. I think Path in the sideboard is a fine card, and the main deck is just, I think it's horrible. But I don't know. We don't have to go back and forth on this all day. Okay, Lingering Souls is probably our best draw. Another Unearth if it resolves. Could obviously get countered. Graveyard that. Again, I don't think I'm supposed to Path to Ragavan. We have, like, if we just draw Lingering Souls, the Ragavan's pretty innocuous, and Murktide is such a threat, I think we have to hold it. I think we're taking an L here. Unless we draw Lingering Souls, yeah, just flooding out. Rough stuff, fold a 2 and 1. The new As Nauseam lines, we kill them with Storm as the old times. What changed that made Ad Nauseam want to go back to playing Lightning Storm? We're trying on Licensors. I want to cast some Licensors at some point, yeah. We're gonna play Indulgence just because of Unearth Mentor. Yeah, like the whole, like, what this deck is trying to do is set up for a turn where you get to Unearth your Monastery Mentor. I think it may be okay actually to play Watery Grave tapped and just like not cast a Consider, but if my opponent has Eidolon on turn 2, I'm really gonna need to cast Consider. Keep that. An offer you can't refuse on 0-cost packs. Why wouldn't you just play Dispel and not give them 2 free treasures? Is Indulgence playable in inverted decks? Yes, I think so. I think that there's maybe a good, like, Inverter Reanimator shell with Tainted Indulgence that I'm trying to figure out. That one's been, like, honestly, like, one of the harder deck building challenges I've had so far. But it is on my to-do list. You counter your own stuff? Oh. Okay. I'm still not very enthused, to be honest. Okay, but yeah, get our ritual. Okay, love Shredder here. Pretty likely to connive on my opponent's turn. Love getting to discard Mentor. Let's keep another Consider. Don't think I'm forcing this Rift Bolts. We'll see where it targets, I guess. Targets the Shredder, which probably means my opponent has Searing Blaze. So I'm gonna force this. Next turn I'm gonna go Unearth. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna discard the Tainted Indulgence here. Maybe I'll discard the Delta and then force pitch Tainted Indulgence. That's probably better. Don't counter. Countering seems great. Counter seems great. What are you talking about? Oh, they didn't play a land. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I shouldn't have countered. That's why. Yeah, I didn't realize it was just not killing the Shredder. Okay, well, we'll give them that one for free. I was confused, like, why you guys didn't want to counter. That makes sense. Okay, we'll keep the push. I don't think we need a second push, though. And then, yeah, let's just go push plus Consider on their turn. And I'm just going to fetch an Island now, too, so I don't turn on Skewer the Critics for free. Yeah, they didn't play land, so the Shredder was a 3-5, or 3... Oh, no, it was a 3-4, right? No, it was still died as Searing Blaze. Yeah, it was a 3-4, it was dying. This Mentor's not dying, though. Yeah, it was dying to Searing Blaze. Forcing was good. Oh, I could have discarded... Oh, of course, sorry. Yeah, I could have just discarded a non-land to save it. Okay, that was... Okay. New card fatigue, new card brain rot. Shredder's been really good so far. I've been just like constantly impressed by it so far. The fact that it triggers on your opponent's turn is kind of crazy. Alright, game over. Okay, winning game 1 against Burn is very nice. I'm going to bring in these Prismatic Endings. Probably just the Endings. I think I'll go like -1 Scour, -1 Indulgence. What was my favorite Elden Ring boss? Probably the Falling Star Beast, to be honest. I like that fight. I know it's not a super popular answer, but I like battled it like 30 times at level 40 or 50 or something. In the cave. The fight was just so good. No, Counterspell is good against Burn. You should be playing it. Path is also, in my opinion, not very good against Burn. This hand's very good if we could find a Mentor off the Scour. I'm going to try it. Why no Faithful Mending? Well, we're trying Indulgence over Mending. I don't think you want to like go super redundant on that kind of effect. Yeah, I think I'm just going to try to really high roll and try to find a Mentor off one of the 2 Scours. And obviously also hope my opponent doesn't have a Eidolon. Yeah, you could play Murktide in this deck. I think you could play Murktide over Shredder, and then then you get Indulgence turned on sometimes, but it's it also doesn't work with your Unearth. Yeah, holding the Bauble obviously pretty bad against Eidolon. Feeling pretty dead. Maybe we could have unearthed Shredder there. Would 1 Dark Withering be good main decking to dig against the Murktide? Dark Withering. Has Tainted Indulgence be good? Nah, Mending seems better. I don't know that I agree. That Mending is better. I think I'm gonna go to game 3 though. I feel like the card disadvantage in this deck and Mending was always a big issue. I know we're playing against Burn like right now, so maybe it seems like that's the case. But I feel like the card disadvantage in this deck was always a problem, and like the fact that this isn't card disadvantage seems, I think, like a big deal to me. I do feel like Shredder's probably a bigger upgrade overall. Shredder's felt really good, but I think Indulgence is a small upgrade over the Mending. Though we can't draw too many functional hands here. Yeah, Mending's better against Burn for sure. I'm on board. I don't know what to do about this hand. I guess I just go to 5. And I probably put back Unearth Push. Isn't the flashback real nice? Flashback is nice. It's really not that big a deal, to be honest. It's Mending was playable in the deck. Mending was definitely a card that enabled this deck to work, but I think Indulgence is better overall. You don't need to discard multiple cards usually either. Usually you're pretty happy just to discard your 1 Unearth and you're good to go after that. Is it Mending worse for the mana base? Yeah, I think Indulgence makes the mana better a little bit, not by much. Is there a show Shredder Murktide? Yeah, I think we'll probably try to figure that out. Probably not with Mentor, but should we fetch after Goblin Guide trigger resolves? No, it's a absolute nightmare. It's like a game losing nightmare if the Goblin Guide reveals the swamp and I want to most maximize the. I'm definitely fetching Swamp and pushing Goblin Guide there, no matter what happens. So I'm never going to see a card on top of my library and be like, oh, I'm actually not gonna fetch the push, and fetch the Swamp and push the Goblin Guide. There's no card I could see on top that would make me be like, that would make me be dude, the Unearths are so bad here. That would make me be okay with not pushing the Goblin Guide. And so if you're always going to fetch the Swamp and push, you should fetch there. And again, you also, the game ends. The game ends if the Goblin Guide reveals the Swamp, I think. My opponent did also Mold a 6. Getting a Counterspell Boros Charm does feel pretty nice. Get a cycle Unearth end of turn. If you played Mending, would I play Prismatic for push? Yeah, yeah, I have in the past, but I think you do want to match your removal spell with the color of your looting effect in this shell. And, you know, in spots like this, Indulgence is a way better top deck than Mending, too. I'm going to discard the push. I guess I mainstay Scour, because if I mill over Mentor, draw Unearth. I did hit Unearth. I can Unearth the Ledger Shredder if I want to right now. Do I want to? Flux Goblin Guide. It's a bit better for me to hold up Snapcaster, like Snap Counterspell or Snap Indulgence next turn. Would I try Calibrate Blast, the new 15 mana 7/7? I know that like Bob did well over the challenge this weekend with that deck. I went in thinking that card would be good in Calibrated Blast too. I'm like not surprised to see that Calibrated Blast putting up some results with it. At the very least, I think Bob's list is really good. Maybe I can pull it up for you guys. And I don't have like it's like probably like about exactly how I would build it. So at the very least, I don't have any ideas on how to improve. Okay, kind of ran into Searing Blaze there. I guess I didn't realize I wasn't following Bob on Twitter, but yeah, here's Bob. Bob49's challenge top 8 list. Just like being able to cast Sign of Draco and the new Shadow is pretty interesting. Brutal. Second Eidolon is so freaking good here. It's so frustrating. I just like have to snap push this one. Down to 4. Smothing the 3 months, appreciate ya. Well, this gives me a chance. Let's go down to 2, attack for 2, start racing. Can I draw 4 counter spells in a row? Thanks. Dude, Eidolon there was so brutal. Like, we're just doing so well against any other spells. We can even beat 1 Eidolon, probably. Brutal. Alright, Glorious 2-0 into 2-2. But if your goal is to spend your money the most effectively to get into Modern, buying packs is not how you should do it. I'll put back the Snapcaster. GG, Admiral. Missed the stream where you play Green, Black, and Pioneer. How'd they go? Went okay. I like the deck. Is there a reason not to play 4 Throws of Chaos and Calibrated Blast? Yes, because your Calibrated Blast can hit your Throws of Chaos, so you don't want that to happen too often. You're okay with it kind of hitting it the first time, but if it happens too many times, it's a good way to lose a game. Yeah, it's a good draw, especially if we can find a black source off the top. Oh, Dredge is a really bad matchup. Oh no. It is true that Mentor can possibly overwhelm their board. That's our entire game plan. This is kind of one of those spots where in order to beat Dredge, you have to like play like 4 or 5 sideboard cards. I'm just pretty consciously deciding to hope to dodge. Did not dodge. Why does the deck go play discard? We're choosing to play counterspells as our interaction instead, which I think plays better with all the instant speed cards. You know, discard spells being sorcery are kind of rough, but that being said, you can play some. It's really hard for them to have a weak Thrilling Discovery here. So they get back their Silver Smoke goal, which brings back 2 Amalgams. Bad shape. Could go crazy here, though. Could go crazy. The Force of Negation is kind of interesting. Not finding a land is a little less interesting, though. How close to making this list Drown the Lock? I don't think this deck is super close to playing Drown, as much as I do love that card. I think you need to be playing, you know, discard spells usually, which you could do. You could build a deck with discard spells, Drown the Lock. It's just, I think, a bit awkward on all the instant speed cantrips to build a deck that way. Okay, let's figure out a plan. I think I'm cutting all the Fatal Pushes, and I'm bringing in the Fulminator Mages on the play, and this is my hope and my cope on the play. You wouldn't play Drown for Counterspell ever? I think in this list, Counterspell's better. I don't think we have enough enablers for Drown. Alright, this hand hopefully can mill over a Mentor or a Fulminator. I think I'm going to scour main phase. And if I mill over a Mentor, I'll hold the Bauble. And if I don't, I'll just play the Bauble. Could have also used the Bauble ourselves for some card selection too. It's kind of close. Do you love that my opponent's drawing Creeping Chill for turn? Is Surgical Extraction not very good at Modern right now? I mean, obviously, Surgical Extraction is like, the first Surgical is like pretty sadly unimpactful against strategy. It's like you usually need to like Surgical them 3 times to have a shot, which is just a big problem for your sideboard card. Like you would usually want to sideboard for the Dredge matchup basically anything else. Might Ledger Sledger be playable in Blue-Red Prowess? Maybe. It would maybe be a slightly different deck. The card does seem like it has got a decent amount of synergy with Lava Dart. It's an interesting inquiry. Super dead. I will say, you know, despite this league crashing and burning a little bit, I think we have learned that Shredder at least looks really impressive. We'll probably play some more of this deck at some point, and also pretty likely to figure out a different home for Shredder. Maybe trying this card just in Murktide, maybe trying a couple different shells. I'm really excited about this card. I'm also, I think, I'm just so dead here. I'm just so dead. I think I'm probably gonna pack it in and play our next deck, which is Jund's Shadow featuring Riveteer's Charm. I think I'm really excited about this list. I think it looks really good. We had a deck tech for this deck. The